So I'm going to make another file here inside of my bin. And this is going to just be called like check, or we'll just do touch check number. And we'll do a chmod plus x of check number. And then we're going to vi check number. And then we'll do our little hash bang at the top. Slash bin slash bash. Okay. And then we're going to say if $1, put a space there so it's a little bit more readable, is greater than 10, then echo greater than 10. Else if, that's how you write an else if, is elif, write that. We can write another test in here. $1 is less than 10. Then echo less than 10. And then finally you can do else. Echo equals 10. And then again, always at the end, fi, like that. Okay, so now I can right quit here, and I can say check number 10. All right, so check number. So if I put 10, it says equals 10. If I put 11, it's greater than 10. And if I put 9, it is less than 10. So that's how you do ifs, else, and then you always have to finish with the fi. Okay, let's do one more. So we'll make another file here. We're going to call it smiley. So touch smiley. And we're going to chmod plus x smiley. And then we're going to vi on smiley. And we're going to do a case statement really quick. So we're going to say case $1. This is like a switch statement in JavaScript. Oh, and I have to put my bin bash in there. /bin/bash. Also kind of a tip here. I don't know how to do this. I'm sure there's a special way to do this with VI, but if I just right quit and then reopen it again, it will use this to interpret like, oh, okay, this is a bash file. I will give you bash highlighting now. I'm sure someone in the chat is immediately going to say, this is how you do it with VI. That's fine. Anyway, case $1 in, and then here, it's going to just be like a matching statement. So if the user inputs smile, then you put here in quotes, I'm going to put the string that it's looking for, and then you put an end parenthesis to signify this is the first case. And then we're going to say echo our little smiley face there. And then the way that you end a particular case is 2 semicolons like that. Okay, we'll do the next one here, sad, echo sad face, and then we'll do laugh, and I have more of these in my notes, but you get the point. Echo, and okay, and then in order to finish that is you do, oh, and then the last one that's good to know is like, if it doesn't match any of these, to put the wildcard at the end. You can say this will only get hit if it doesn't match anything else. Then you say, I don't know that one yet. Okay. And then again, the way that you finish a case statement is with case backwards, which is ESAC, ESAC. Okay, and then we'll right quit there. And then we can run smiley with laugh, and it'll output that, smiley smile, and smiley something else, right? And it's going to say Oops, you need to put smiley. I don't know that one yet. What did I mess up in there? Oh, I didn't put an echo. Right there. Echo. There you go. Then it says I don't know that one yet. But you can see that that block of code wasn't being executed on the previous ones. It wasn't erroring out because it was never being executed. So the switch statements here can get pretty fancy, and I'm not going to really get into it too much, but suffice like you now have the tools that if you need to get more fancy with a switch statement, you know how to Google that.
Is there a concept of local scope with bash scripts?
There is. So anything that I set inside of my bash script is not going to be exported outside of that bash script unless you explicitly say export this, and then that will be exported to the global scope. Like the global scope meaning that it will survive beyond the bash script. As far as like scoping within like blocks, I don't actually know what the block scope of bash scripting is. My intuition tells me that there's no block scope, but you'd have to look it up. I don't actually know. Do I think programming with bash is a different mindset than programming with like a different programming language? I guess. I mean, programming is programming, and I would loop bash in as a traditional programming language, but I wouldn't like go write like a web server in bash. Like it's totally possible. It's absolutely possible to be able to do that. I use bash much more as a utilitarian language. Like I'm trying to do like a one-off script, and I want it to do one thing, and I want it to be done with it after that. So in that sense, I'm probably a little less diligent about making them super clean code. It's much more procedural. I think that's probably one of the biggest things about it is like when I write my node code, it's very like I tend more towards the functional style. I tend to have a lot more functions and classes and objects and things like that. Whereas bash, it's very much reads this line, then this line, then this line, then this line, then this line. And anything that's much more complicated than that, I will probably reach for Node, or I'll probably reach for Python. Whereas I treat bash much more procedurally. And I think that's common. It's not necessarily you have to do it that way. So one thing I'm not going to show you, but is possible with bash scripting, is you can write functions with bash script. The reason why I'm not showing is like I just don't. Anytime that I need to write functions, I'm getting into something a bit more complicated, and I would probably reach for Python, because Python also is very good at doing the similar things to bash. But I know plenty of people that would write that in bash. So that's probably a pretty roundabout answer of like, the way that I treat bash, yes, but there's no reason that it has to be that way. It's a good question.